All right, good morning, folks. This is John Havlicek here with my next edition of Common Grounds, where we share some common grounds and then hope to find common ground. And here in Wisconsin, we got a couple issues that I want to talk about today. First one, there is a Microsoft data center going up. One is almost done, and then they're going to start another one, start work on a neighboring facility, I guess, in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. So good if it sounds like this is going to bring, when they're done, 800 jobs, technicians, business and the whole bit. So that sounds very promising. 800, I think, probably pretty high paying jobs to that area. That's excellent. Potential downsides, looks like they're going to use about, according to their numbers, about 150,000 gallons net water per day, which is an eye-popping number. Sounds like a lot of water. But they're saying that this is a recoverable amount of water and that you're not going to feel the effects in that area. Okay, we'll see. Some communities have said, out on the East Coast, some communities have said nope, and they're not interested, and they have successfully actually stopped efforts to build data centers. But then you got some desert areas out west that have said, yeah, that's fine, come on in and do it. So I guess it's going to be like, we need to keep an eye on that. And then they're also saying that it's going to use about 900 megawatts of power. Again, that's hard to wrap your mind around. They're saying that they are going to build a 250 megawatt solar plant to try to offset that, at least in part. So that, again, maybe good, maybe not. I think if you live over there, that's something to keep your eye on. Maybe tentative, fingers crossed, and other communities in Wisconsin, because if it does work and does seem acceptable, we have a lot of natural resources around here, like accessible clean water. And we have a lot of communities, especially the more rural areas, that could use this economic kind of revitalization. We just have to keep our eye on it so that all of a sudden, these beautiful natural resources that we have don't disappear. Okay, but we can't shut our eyes or shut the doors to growing industry. Okay, so that's issue number one. Issue number two, if you've been following, I'm sure you have because you can't avoid it, the Trump tariff debacle that just, it's the crazy wheel that you just can't get off, and it never stops spinning, right? So a particular one here in Wisconsin, and I think this highlights how this Republican president and Republican legislature, Congress, have abandoned their own voters here in the rural parts, especially of Wisconsin. So Wisconsin produces about $1 billion worth, Wisconsin farmers produce about $1 billion of soybeans every year, a little bit more. We're not top 5 or anything like that in the country, but the Midwest produces like 70 or 80%. 4 states like Illinois, Iowa produce almost half the soybeans in the entire country. Okay, Iowa, pretty rural, right? Wisconsin, purple state, but we got a lot of rural voters that voted for Trump. So $1.3 billion worth of soybeans. Well, Trump, willy-nilly, just such a, I don't even know what you would say, person, decides to put these huge tariffs on China. Well, the Chinese government says, well, we buy 50% of U.S. soybeans. Now we're not going to buy any. 0. So what happens? China starts buying their soybeans from Brazil and Argentina. Okay? Argentina is looking like they're going to get a $20 billion government bailout from President Trump. So let me bring this one full circle. Rural Wisconsin voters vote for Trump. A lot of them are farmers that are producing soybeans. They would typically export most of their soybeans to China. Trump puts tariffs on China, which, by the way, you and I are paying, of course. They don't buy any soybeans from the U.S. They buy them from Argentina. So these farmers can't sell their soybeans. Then Trump is going to bail out the government of their competitor to the tune of $20 billion. So I got to ask, how many times are the rural voters going to let Trump kick him in the shorts with a steel-toed boot before they realize that voting Republican is against their own economic interests? And guess what? Every time he does this, he launches some new culture war to distract from it. So, especially if you're in one of those rural parts of the state, you got to have this conversation. You got to point this stuff out. Republicans, federal, national Republicans, are hurting the very rural voters that put them into office. They are abandoning you. And this is where you and I have common ground, because they abandoned me 30 years ago. All right. So that being said, I hope everybody has a good day.